Emsworth, Hampshire, and I'm here to investigate a boat salesman who keeps going bust, leaving behind him hundreds of creditors and owing millions of pounds. But Tony Chappell just keeps moving on and starting up new companies, so now his creditors want something done about it.
It's horrific. The law should actually come down on him because, he shouldn't be allowed to trade again.
The Tarquin Boat Company folded in June last year, but within weeks, Tony Chappell and his family were back in business in the offices up there. Now, creditors were owed about £4 million, but family members bought back the assets of the old company for just £440,000, allowing them to virtually start again where they'd left off. Now, Tony Chappell's done very well over the years. He's got a large house with spectacular views in the countryside, not to mention the odd aeroplane or two. Meanwhile, other people lose their businesses and have to pick up the bill. I've come to the Scottish Highlands, home to a man who knows nothing about the marine world, a farmer who put his trust in Tony Chappell. He was nearing retirement and ordered a brand new motorboat from Mr. Chappell, paying 2 instalments totalling £116,000.
I've worked hard all my life. Started with nothing really. We had a farming background, my parents, but I made my own way in life. I didn't inherit anything. And at the age of around 60, I thought that if I didn't do it now, I would never do it. When he asked if he could do anything for me, I said, well, Tony, I'll order a boat from you, on one condition, that I can look to you as a father and help me through the initial stages and get us going properly. And he said, you need not worry about that, we'll look after you well.
But Tony Chappell had lied. Only a fraction of Donald's money made it to the boat builder. Now he's just another creditor who won't get paid.
I feel very betrayed. I feel, at the age of 61, the number of people that I've met in life and dealings that I've had, sometimes big business dealings, sometimes everyday small dealings, I don't think I've ever been dealt with in a manner like this. And I've been completely fooled by their behaviour.
Mr. Chappell declined to give us an interview, but told us in a letter that a new company set up by his children had offered to build boats for his former clients. Mr. Robertson has not taken up this offer. As well as selling new, foreign-built motor yachts called traders, Mr. Chappell also acted as a broker for second-hand boats. Kay Money asked Tony Chappell to sell her boat, and now she's £57,000 out of pocket. Tell me about your boat, because you had a great boat, didn't you?
Yes, we had a superb trader, 475, called Cat's Whisker.
It's a big boat, isn't it?
Yeah, she was just about 50 feet. Lovely, wonderful to drive. I drove her a lot.
Mr. Chappell found her a buyer. And I've come to Denmark to investigate the deal and discover exactly what happened to the man who bought Kay's boat.
So which one of these crafts is yours?
That's the one, Danish trader.
The boat was bought by Torben Skofsgaard to set up a new business. But his plans were foiled by Tony Chappell, who never forwarded the boat's paperwork. Torben says his business collapsed as a result, and that everything he owns is now at risk.
This isn't your boat anymore, is it?
No, it's not.
So what's happened?
I mean, since we couldn't have the documents, or we didn't have the documents until very, very late, basically, and so we couldn't prove ownership of the boat, so everything went down the drain. And the bank, they lost the patience with us, and it's now their boat.
Do you feel maybe you were naive to put all your eggs in one basket, and even to trust Tony Chappell?
That's a good expression. I mean, here in Denmark, we are naive. We are a little bit stupid. We believe in a handshake and a man's word many times, and we shouldn't have done that, obviously.
Now, Kay was told the selling price was £290,000, but we broke the news that Torben had actually paid £300,000 up front. That's 10 grand unaccounted for.
I'm absolutely horrified. Tony Chappell and Tarquin Yacht Company were representing us to get the best price possible. If the £300,000 has been paid for our boat, why were we told it was only £290,000? I am frankly appalled.
Mr. Chappell also omitted to tell her the boat was in Denmark, so she was still paying running costs of about £800 a month for a boat that was long gone.
We'd been paying for the mooring, we were paying for the insurance. We were only comfortable at all knowing that the boat was still here in England, hadn't been handed over. All of that was untrue. As far as we're concerned, we have been totally defrauded.
Now, we've spoken to a lot of people who feel very let down by Mr. Chappell. In one case, he took out a mortgage on this boat before selling it for £425,000 without clearing his debt. Now, the buyer only found out about this when the bank wanted its boat back. In this case, the police were involved. His punishment, a police caution. Mr. Chappell's past is littered with litigation, redundancies and debts. His first company went bust in 1975. In 1985, another company went into receivership, triggering an investigation by the police and the Director of Public Prosecutions, though no action was taken. And in the 90s, another failure, with yet more debts and redundancies. Now, this is a list of over 100 people and businesses still owed money from Tony Chappell's latest business failure. Now, out of the ashes of the old comes a new company, this time with his 2 children as directors. Tony Chappell says it has nothing to do with him, but just 3 days after the Tarquin Boat Company went bust, this business plan was sent out naming him as sales executive. So how does a man who causes so much anguish keep coming back? We'd like to make it clear that Mr. Chappell has never been prosecuted. But we spoke to a forensic accountant who said it was very easy for failed directors to carry on in business.
In many of these cases where there is a prosecution, all the director has to sign is a statement saying he agrees not to be a director for another 6 or 7 years. He doesn't even actually have to pay a fine in many of these cases.
So if you're making a big purchase, like buying a boat, how can you protect yourself?
I think if you're handing over your life savings to somebody, you want to make sure that you're going to get what you paid for. And you want to keep your money safe, put it through a solicitor account. I wouldn't, even if the company says that it goes into a client account, I would be slow to believe that because you really have no evidence of that.
Mr. Chappell said in a statement,
"During my 40-year career, I've been responsible for delivering hundreds of boats to satisfy customers. Over those 4 decades, a few of the businesses I was involved in were unable to weather the deepest recessions. There are certain issues I have undertaken to settle personally. One is the mortgage which was guaranteed by me. Another is the small percentage of the sales proceeds of Cat's Whisker.
That's Kay's old boat.
Regretfully still owing to the vendor at the time of the administration."
Trader Motor Yachts, which is run by Mr. Chappell's children, says Tony Chappell was involved at the start of the business, but isn't anymore. All this scant consolation for those who put their trust in Mr. Chappell.
It's amazing that a guy like Tony, he's able to do what he has done. And it doesn't seem that there's any criminal charges pressed against him. And now it seems like his son is just taking over his company and nothing is happening. I think that's unfair and it's unbelievable.
The way this company and this family has conducted itself, I would have thought that the law of the land should protect the public where possible, and these people should not be allowed to continue in business any longer.